Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country 3. In the last part, we reached the final main world of the game, Kaos Kore, and now we're in, what was the name of this level again, like Conveyor Rope Clash? The main mechanic with this level is that the ropes we now climb on are also conveyor belts. So they will push you along to left or right, depends on the rope, and the speed of which also depends on the rope. And thus you just need to interchange between them. I love the music of this level. I forget exactly how many levels this particular track plays in. I don't even think it plays in all the variants of this level type, but we also haven't seen many of this level type so far. It's just real catchy. I remember when I first found that bonus, it was a complete accident, and I thought I died for a second. There's always been a couple of cases of that. It's kind of like the first time you find the bonus warp, the warp zone in Super Mario Brothers. If you're a kid, you're probably thinking you just got stuck up there for a second before the pipes show up on screen and then flash the numbers. Because I thought that was what was happening. I thought I completely messed up. Thankfully, I didn't. I've definitely had some cases where I mess up a lot and I have to reload a save in just the weirdest way. Like I think I mentioned before on content. There was one time, it was when I was first playing through Okami. I got to the dungeon at the end of the first third of the game before you go to fight Orochi. And I fell down the main cylindrical room that's sort of like the town of the area. And I fell down onto a seam. I fell through the seam and just fell into endless blackness. I lost about an hour and a half of progress at that point. I was very sad. God, that would have been... Oh man, that would have been almost that would have been over a decade ago at this point. Oh man, oh no. I don't like that. That is an uncomfortable feeling. I'm sorry, I think I just bumped my mic. The flow of time just keeps on coming and it keeps on coming. Also, this is one of my favorite bonuses in the game because it's one of the easiest, but there's something about the back and forth nature of it that just makes my brain make the zoomy zoom and the good chemicals. I don't know how else to describe it. Although I do wish one thing with the bonus stages in this game, and I think this is also the case in the last one. I wish that when you cleared the bonus, the timer stopped, because you could completely clear what you need to do, but not get the bonus coin because there was a second left and you needed a second and a half to reach the coin. I wish they would be a little kinder with that, but oh well. At least the bonus areas are, again, very short, so recompleting them probably wouldn't take too long. If anything, it'd be more efficient on a second time through because you know what could potentially happen. I think another thing I like about this level, the ropes, yeah, when you're first going through the level, you can probably be a little reckless with them and fall into enemies pretty easily. But they lend themselves to a good sense of speed that I find very nice. Bottom line, though, I believe that's the level in full? Yeah, there's nothing behind the level flag in this one. Also, I think you get a different level clear thing depending on whether or not you beat the stage with Dixie or Kitty, but I seldom beat the stage and pay attention to what's playing. But we do have a new Brothers band to talk to. This is Baffle.
Hi there, Kitty. How are you doing? My name's Baffle, the Master of Code. I got a problem at the moment. I can't break a code I've been working on. Maybe I should reflect on it. Wink, wink, wink.
Anything else to say?
This code is really bugging me. Whoops, I left too soon. I guess we'll just never finish that line of dialogue. Forget me, then.
On to creepy caverns. This stage has one of the more annoying mechanics in the game, despite it only being in this level from memory. We have a new type of barrel in this stage by the name of a boo barrel. It's a ghost barrel. I want to say these were in the last game at some point. I genuinely can't remember because I'm not playing in that game at the moment. The thing is with these is the moment you enter them, you get shot in the direction they're facing. With that said, they phase in and out of existence, and both need to be used as a platform to get around further in the stage, but they're also a hazard that can knock you into enemies. Depends on the barrel it is and what point of the level you're at. Some barrels will even just zoom in and out of the same place, rotating invisibly, so you need to just keep an eye on what they're going to fade into next. Because of this is a level you really want to pace yourself in, because if you rush too hard, you might just run into a bad boo barrel and get shot into a buzzer, and at that point, well, you just lost a Kong or a life. Depends on the thing. Also, these enemies, I want to say the name is Clamp. I'm probably far off on that because all the Kremling names blend together because they all start with K and need to be some sort of pun like that. They can only be taken out by Kitty. They're like the... I want to say the name was like Cruncha in the original Donkey Kong Country. And that Donkey can only take care of those enemies. And now we have, I think that's the first required use of a roll jump in the game. If I haven't talked about that yet so far in this one. That's a bit of a quirk with the DKC trilogy in that you can roll or spin, in the case of Dixie, off a ledge, and you have a a second after you fall off the ledge to do your jump that you could have done beforehand. By and large, I think every DKC requires you to use that at least once or twice to get 100%, but it can also be useful just in speeding through a level. And I want to say this is one of the more annoying bonus stages too, because I think how this barrel moves, if it's not entirely random, it's slow enough to the point where getting all the bits in here can be a problem. I want to say due to some minor restructuring, some bonuses like that were made easier in the GBA version because the team throw could be used to better reach some of the stars. But I'm not sure if that's one of the cases that happened in. The GBA versions had enough screen crunch in some places that they did have to change some things. Also, the background beat of this song at very specific points reminds me weirdly of the ambience background music of Metroid 2, and I don't know exactly how to explain it, except it reminds me of the beeps and boops the same way. Oh, wait, no, is that Metroid 2? No, it's reminding me more of Torian from Metroid 1. The bubbliness of it. Huh. Although I guess those do kind of occupy the same kind of space in my brain. Also, hitting the barrel enemies with Squitter makes them revert into a barrel you can actually use as a barrel. But now time for one of the most annoying bonuses to reach in the game. We have, I think, 3 or 4 different boo barrels we have to avoid with Squitter. If you hit them, no matter what, their timer resets and you can just get comboed by one over and over again. So you need to be kind of precise here, and the timing this requires and placement it requires is... I want to say it might be the most precise in the game in terms of getting past something like this. So I'm just gonna jump cut to when I successfully do it just to save us some time. Or at least I thought I was jumping when I was successfully doing it. Okay, there we go. Taking your time there only gets you so far, I feel. I don't like the boo barrels. They might be one of my least favorite mechanics in the game. Thankfully, they're not in the game too often. Again, if they were in DKC 2, which I think they were, or at least something similar to them was, I might be mostly thinking of the ropes that disappear and reappear at similar intervals. Were definitely better used, but also worse used because they appeared more than the once, I think. You can really see my bias in terms of what I remember in games, because the things I remember in games are usually the things I dislike the most, or that's it. If I remember more, it depends on how many times I've played the game. And you can really see that even though I like DKC 2 a lot, it's my favorite in this trilogy, I don't play it too often. If I play a Super Nintendo platformer nowadays, I'm probably going back to any of the Mega Man games on it, obviously. Mario World. That might be it, honestly. Because I don't like either of the Kirby games on the Super Nintendo too much. They're good, but I prefer other Kirby games. I guess technically Super Metroid, if you count Metroid as a platform, which has a lot of elements like it. That DK coin can be a little tight to get. Thankfully, I believe that barrel does respawn, so you don't need to worry about losing out on it permanently. Well, quote-unquote permanently. You have to replay the stage. Kind of permanently, rather. Honestly, though, the boo barrels are annoying. They are far from the worst thing in the game. Also, even far from the worst thing in this world, because the next level, easily, is not only the worst level in the world, it's arguably the worst level in the game, because it's a very brutal mechanic over in Lightning Lookout. As its name would imply, we're dealing with some lightning here. This level is the same type of aesthetic as the River Road Race, or whatever the hell it was called back in World 2. But a consistent threat throughout the level is lightning that'll pulsate on the top of the screen 2 or 3 times before striking. It strikes in one of 2 ways. It either tries to actively home in on you, or it'll strike at specific points depending on where you are in the stage. Whenever it tries to home in on you, there's usually buzzers or other enemies above you that you can use to home in on instead to save yourself from taking the hit. The timing is consistent, but it's consistent enough to be annoying, as there's times where you'll frequently have to take a pause to just break your pace and make sure you don't get killed, or grab a barrel to take the hit for you. And some of the bonuses here are annoying by some. I mean, this first one here, the bonus itself isn't annoying. What is annoying is reaching it, because it's in the water, and if you're in the water when lightning strikes, you just get hit. You can't avoid it. And you have to bait out the lightning to get to it, and the timing itself is a little tight. This level is one of my least favorite, because I find the timing just inconsistent enough to be annoying. Easy to get DK coin though. Something about losing that extra life right in front of the DK barrel, was all the more insulting, especially because we were literally at a checkpoint. Now that's just rude. I don't like this level. And the thing is, by and large, in concept, it's one of the simpler hazards. But something about actively avoiding it just doesn't feel right to me. Maybe it's the pace at which the lightning strikes out. Maybe it's the size of the hitbox. Maybe it's the inconsistency between it having set places to show up versus following you a little bit. Something about this just does not feel right at all. Even the Lost World levels the game has, I find to be easier to approach than this. Oh, what? This barrel, by the way, you can either do a helicopter spin with Dixie, or you can throw one of the other two Kongs into it. Now, in concept, this bonus should be annoying because it's one of the banana ones with lightning around it, but I find the lightning only tends to strike towards the extreme sides, and it strikes relatively uncommonly compared to the rest of the stage here, I feel. So you don't have to worry about too much here. I do believe it can strike in the middle 2 quarters of the screen, but as long as you're just moving back, left to right, jumping at every extreme, it'll probably strike on those extremes anyway, so not much to worry about there, honestly. In a way that I'm kind of glad about. Make sure you get on the barrels as soon as you can, but also wait on the barrels because, as you can see, they make sure to place the landing in such a way that you'll easily get hit. And there goes that barrel. Thankfully, it spawns infinitely. Yeah, I don't like the level. And every platform is going to have the levels that you just don't like even as much as I love. I know I bring up Mega Man a lot, especially in this commentary, I feel, for some reason. But I love Mega Man 6 to death. I don't like most of the Mr. X stages going back to it. It's just kind of a pace breaker, even though one has a really cool boss fight. This is this game's version of that, to me. Also, the banana birds show up in Wrinkly's save cave. I don't think I've directly addressed that. It's just nice to see your progress in them actively be stored somewhere. With that, now we're moving on to the next level. This is Coin Dozer Clamber. This stage is a little bit interesting in that it brings a new version of an old enemy in. The main mechanic of this is Coin Dozer. Coin Dozer is the coin enemy, the one that has the DK coin, only they'll actively charge at you. But their goal isn't to actively do damage to you, their goal is to either act as a platform beneath you when you jump over them, or to just bounce you off the stage. This is also the level where they really start getting cute in terms of where they hide their bonuses and stuff, because although I think an earlier stage did this to an extent as well, the Kong letters and even some of the bonus barrels are hidden up in the leaves above. Now, the coins themselves, honestly, aren't the biggest problem here. The size of the platform some of them are put on the other hand, is. Because their hitboxes are just clunky enough that sometimes you'll get bounced off when they're facing vertically or slightly diagonally, and if you just land slightly off to the side of them, they'll immediately go charging into you and you'll just get bonked off. With that said, this is probably the easiest level in this world. Because if I recall, it's also the final level, I think, in it. If it's not, it's the second to last. and I enjoy it for being a simpler level, honestly. There's something about simple but tight ideas in a quote-unquote final world that really hit to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just some of the ideas that they do for like a Mario game coming to mind, where it's like, we don't really do anything flashy, we just do what we've done before, but more intense sort of stylizations that really work with me. Also, this bonus is just fun. You gotta just go between the two. I've already forgotten the names of this enemy. Coin Dozer. Trying to get the bananas, and something about platforming between the same two over and over again feels good to me. It's probably because I can take this at a relatively slow pace. I don't need to worry about the hitboxes kind of messing with me a little bit. And there we go. If there's anything I think this game, and this trilogy in general, I think needed to do a little bit better with, it's mixing some of its stage mechanics together. Because they got some things, like we got the bazooka guys firing at the coins, the coin and coin dozers here and there. But I feel the strength of a platformer sometimes is how it uses what it's taught you and mixes it well together. And admittedly, to an extent, that's what the Lost World stuff in the DKC trilogy is for. That's meant to test you on what you've learned and how you platform between things well, especially in DKC 2. But I feel other platformers tend to do that better, just because of the pacing of it all. Rareware's focus in a lot of ways throughout their games until they got bought by Microsoft, and even then a little bit afterwards, was very much more so on the amount of things they could do rather than how those things relate to each other, if that makes sense. Like, I think in a lot of ways, the most focused game they ever made was either DKC 1 or, yeah, maybe Star Fox Adventures. Even then, that needed more focus in a lot of ways still. And that can really, I think, change how a game is approached. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 10, I think we finish off this world. See you guys then.